Let's work on Rain Boots 3, the last block in row 3 of our Spring Showers quilt. It's time to work on Rain Boots 3 on page 53. This is the last block in row 3 of our Spring Showers quilt. I have the background fabric that has been fused with interfacing, and the batting, and the 2 pieces of material for the rain boots that have interfacing on the back and the iron-on clear vinyl on the front to make the rain boots look shiny. From the embellishment packet, I'm using white felt for a strap with a buckle on the side of the rain boot. The buckle will be put on at the end, and then the cording that will be for the strap on top of the boot. Let's get started. In the instructions, Rain Boots 3 is divided into 2 blocks. The left boot is one block and the right boot is on another block. These are then seamed together to make up the entire block of Boots 3. I've decided to put these 2 boots onto one block and make them the same size as the Rain Boots 2. This step is, of course, totally optional, and you can follow the directions in the book to make the 2 separate blocks and then sew them together. But if you'd like to learn how to make this into one block, let's go through the steps in Embellishment software. Now it's time to make our new block for our Rain Boots 3. If you watched the video on Rain Boots 1, I will follow the same steps for this block. However, this will be a much easier block because these boots do not have the additional flowers added. I will be going through the same basic steps, and I will start by double-clicking the hoop size down on the bottom to change the orientation of the hoop, since it will be easier to align the new block. Then I will bring in our first block that we did, the Boots 2. I will open the combined files. I will find the Boots 2 and drag and drop it in. You can also go up to this icon, Merge Stitch File, and find your file that way. Now I will select this block and rotate it to the right and move it off to the side. Now I will go back and find the quilting design for this block. So I will go to the Quilting Bundles folder, and on this block I'm going to use the Spring 1, and we will go block by block, and I need the 6x8 size. Because this is just a random background pattern and there's not a right way that this pattern has to be, there is no horizontal or vertical design. It's just one design. I will drag it in and it'll be centered in the hoop. Now I will select this design and also rotate it, and I will rotate it to the right. Now it's time to bring in the boots. I will go back and find the embroidery files. And here is the 2 boots that we need for the cream color boots. So I will take the left and drag and drop it, and the right and drag and drop. They will both be centered in the hoop, so we will separate them and line them up as we did our other boots. So the boots have these placement guides, and there's 4 of them because this is a block that was designed to be stitched 1 boot per block. We are making both boots into one larger block. So I will center this bottom line to the bottom outside of the quilting background. I will select and just use my arrow to nudge it down so it's lined up on the bottom. Then we will need to align this right hand side. Now when I did boots 1, at first I aligned it to the outside, and I did the same with this side. So we'll go over to the left, and then we'll move this one down to align with the outside of the quilting. And I thought that they were just a little bit too far apart, so I nudged them in. I will select this and go to the left 3 times so that that line is a little bit farther. I'm going to go one more on this one. So it's in the center. That's about where my boots 1 ended up being. So on this left boot, I will move it over and have that in the center. I'm also going to select this original because the original is what we needed to line up, and we use the same size quilting, so we know it will be the exact same size as this block, which is the size we need that to be. So I will delete this one. Now let's do the color sorting. I will expand these steps out, and we will start with the color sorting process. First, I want to do the background quilting. The first step is the placement for the batting. The second step is the tack down of the batting. Because I cut my batting exactly to this size, I will skip this second step. And so since I'm in software, I'm going to go ahead and just delete it. Now I could leave this step in and just when I get to that step on my machine skip it, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it. I'll hit delete on my keyboard. Then this next step is the placement for the fabric. And it's about 1/4 of an inch past the batting line. And again, Kimberbell is very generous in the sizes that are cut for the projects. So this is another step that I usually skip because our fabric is much larger, and this is just a step that doesn't need to be stitched. So I will select that, hit delete on my keyboard. So all I have is the placement for the batting and the tack down of the fabric and then the quilting. Now I'll start with the boots. I will expand the boots, and the first step is the placement lines for the straps at the top of the boots. Now it's listed blue and orange, and we've already used the blue and orange default up in the quilting, so those do need to be changed. I will select the blue, select the color, and I will change it to grotto blue and hit OK. Then orange, and I will select Mars and hit OK. Now I need to make those same changes to the right boot. So we'll scroll down. The first step is the blue. I will change it to grotto blue. Select OK. Change the orange to Mars and select OK. Now those steps on both boots are the same colors. Now let's move to the next step. The next step is the placement line for the fabric. And again, it's the default blue and default orange, so we will need to change the color. So I've selected the blue. I'll click on the color swatch. We've used grotto blue, so we'll go to the next one, which is robin's egg, and select OK. Then the tack down of the fabric, we will change from the default orange. We've used Mars, so we'll go up to grapefruit and select OK. Now we need to make those same changes to the second boot. We'll scroll down, we'll find that default blue, and we'll select the robin's egg, and then default orange, change to grapefruit, and hit OK. The next step will be the satin outline around each boot. The color is default linen, and that is not a color that's been used, so this does not need to be changed. Both boots will be the same, but you can always scroll down to double check to make sure that they are the same color. The next step is the sole of the boot. That is default shadow. Again, not a color that has been used, so we don't have to change it. The next step is the placement line for the 3D strap. It is default blue that we've used before, so this is one that needs to be changed. I will select the color swatch. I've used Grotto Blue and Robin's Egg, so I will go to the next one, which is Anchor, and change that color. Go down to the next boot, select that placement stitch, change the color to Anchor, and hit OK. This next step is the tack down of that 3D strap. It is default shadow, which has been used up here, so it does need to be changed. I will select the color, and the first color that comes up is lead gray, and we have not used that, so I will select OK. Go down to the next boot, select that same step, and change it to lead gray. Now the last step are these placement lines that we use to line the boots up. This is a stitch that will not be run, will not be stitched out, so I will select it and hit delete on my keyboard. Then I will go to the second boot, select those placement lines, and hit delete on my keyboard. Now we're ready to color sort and see if the changes we made are what we want. I will go to the top toolbar under Utility and select Color Sort. And it says that it has been changed by 8 colors. Always hit New View to make sure that the changes you made were exactly what you were needing and wanting instead of hitting Save It. If you save it and something didn't go as planned, you would have to start over. So hit New View. I'm going to double click the hoop so it's a little bit easier to see. And then we'll go to the Stitch Simulator at the top. Again, those big blocks of colors are usually a good thing because that means that steps have been combined. So if we start at the beginning, we will have the placement for the batting and the tack down of the fabric. We deleted those 2 in-between steps. Then it will do the background quilting. Then it will do both the placement and the tack down of the strap, then the placement and tack down of both of the boots, and then it will do the satin outlining of both of the boots, and then the soles, again for both of the boots, and that's exactly what we want. Then the last few steps are the placement and tack down of the 3D straps. And so the color sorting that we did worked exactly as we wanted, and this will make for less steps and less color changes because both boots will be done at the same time. Now we're ready to click File, Save Stitch File As, name the design. I will save in my Combined Files folder. Click Save. Now I will add that to my USB and take it to my machine. Don't forget to rotate the design and the hoop back to the original position before you save the design. Before I start the block, I need to make the 3D straps that will have the buckle that will be on the side of the boot. I will select Embroidery, then the USB, and I will go to the Embroidery Files folder. I will find the 2 straps and select, and that will be centered in the hoop. I will hit Set and Embroidery. I will select my hoop size and change it to 4 by 4 hoop. since this is a small design. I have a 4x4 hoop that I have put wash away stabilizer in the hoop. I will run the placement stitch for the felt. I will place the felt down and run the stitch for the straps. I will trim the excess stabilizer right up to the stitching line. Then I will put the straps into a bowl of warm water to dissolve the remaining stabilizer. I will pat dry with a towel and let these straps completely dry while I start the block. These are the 4 placement lines for the bootstraps.